Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. It's another episode of Mike and Blaine, Business, Beer, and BS. I don't even know my own name today, so go figure. This is the show where you learn a lot about business, a little bit about beer, and a whole lot of BS. So if that's the priority that you have for listening to a podcast, you have come to the right place. I'm Mike Milan, also known as Cash Flow Mike. That is my friend, my partner, Blaine Birch over at Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. What's up, man?
Not too much. Sounds like you've had a couple already. Mark. That's right.
Well,
hey, whatever. You take it for a test drive and see how it feels to be a Mark.
Yeah, maybe I'm liking it. Right? Hey, that leads me right to it, because right now on the internet, you can be anything you want to, even a robot.
Yes, and that's I love that you're actually introducing the topic. Usually we take quite a while before we introduce the topic, but the topic today is AI influencers. Do you follow them? Should your business create an AI influencer? What are the benefits? What are the risks? We're going to talk about it, even though we're not even remotely experts, probably barely know anything about it. We're still going to talk about it because we're business people and we want to understand that too. But before we dive into the topic, first of all, we are going to feature a couple of beer, and then we're going to have to thank our beer sponsors, because we have beer sponsors for every single week. What are you drinking today?
Hey, guess what? Not a Neighbor Pat. It is Neighbor Pat's daughter and her husband, right? They brought me a 903.
Yep.
It's like, you've seen it before. It's like a Girl Scout cookie, right? It's like a Girl Scout cookie, a cream ale.
Oh, okay.
But let me tell you about Michaela and Sean, right? So when you run a business, you have to be you sometimes. You have to be you. You have to be personable. Folks have to like you. I mean, we were talking about that today on a podcast interview I did, where I was talking about when you run a restaurant, especially, you're not just a server. You're not just a cook. You're not just a restaurant manager. You're part of that person's experience. And the way you act is a representation of the leadership or the brand, right? Mm-hmm. And, I've gotten to know Sean. Sean is the son-in-law of Neighbor Pat. And he works at a pretty popular restaurant, in this area of town. And I go there all the time, and it never fails. If he sees Courtney and I out on the floor, he will come back. He's a kitchen manager. He'll come out of the kitchen and come talk to us. Just say, hey, hey, I saw you. What are you guys up to? That makes a world of difference. It probably takes, 4 minutes of his day, but it makes a world of difference to be recognized. So I want to praise him for that. Because what's coming next. We played bags on, on Tuesday night. So Pat came down here. I'm going to let you, guess what the outcome of a 3-person bags tournament, 2 out of 3 games, or win 3 games, whatever it is.
Yep.
What do you think?
Sorry, Pat. I feel bad for you, but you need to practice. Apparently, 10,000 hours.
So he brought a new set of bags down. They didn't work. I mean, first of all, they had Broncos logos on them. I mean, you know anything about the Denver Broncos? I mean, they can't win football. I mean, why would they win in bags? That's just a terrible thing to buy. So, but it was Sean and I and Pat. And as good of a kitchen manager as Sean is, and as generous as he is to the show by giving us the beer, this guy is absolutely terrible at cornhole. I mean, I thought Pat was bad. I thought twice, right? I won all 3 games, but twice, I think he only scored 1 point. You know how hard it is to score 1 point when it's 3-man? I thought for sure he was going to get, zeroed out. I thought he was going to get skunked, which is even worse because nobody in this neighborhood's ever gotten skunked in 3-man cornhole. He got skunked 1-on-1, Pat's
Almost.
twice. Yeah. Pat's done twice. So I start calling it a squirrel. So he double squirreled like a squirrel tail. That's all the points he got. So yeah, love the guy for what he does at work. He's a great guy all the way around. He doesn't talk enough shit while, playing cornhole. He could move that up just a little bit, but he's got to go throw some bags.
Yeah, you need some remedial for a special project bags.
Yeah, right on.
Need a tutor, need a coach.
Yeah. So what have you got? So I'm going to drink the Girl Scout cookie.
Oh yeah, okay. A quick thing. Actually, I walked by a lady selling Girl Scout cookies the other day, and I got to tell you, it is so much easier to tell an adult no than when it's actually the Girl Scouts there. Because if it's a little girl selling cookies, I have so much trouble just not buying cookies, right? But when it's, I felt bad because I'm like, yeah, it's probably the mom is tasked with selling cookies, but it was so much easier going, nah, I don't need your cookies. But anyway, I did not buy any Girl Scout cookies, but I do have a very good beer. I've had this one a few times before. It is Wren House, which is a great Phoenix brewery.
That's cool.
42 buckets Czech pale lager, and I just really like it. I've, me, I drink a lot of stouts, like a ton of stouts. I drink a lot of IPAs, and for some reason, just the last probably 6 months, I've started to go back and starting to enjoy like a really crisp, like a Czech Pilsner sort of style, Czech lager. And some of the even like the red ales and like the old Kilkenny and Guinness and that, I'm starting to appreciate those beers more than I probably used to. So and this is just a really nice, crisp, clean beer. So I'm enjoying it a lot.
I think I had a Wren House. All right, so Old Town Scottsdale. If you go from one side across the bridge, there's some newer buildings with some restaurants, stuff like that. There's one called, I think, Butcher Block or something like that. I think I had, I think I had a Wren House in there. And
okay, probably.
Man, it's really good beers, really good beers. So I like
very
it.
good.
Like it. So speaking of that, we got beer sponsors. Right. Mm-hmm. So we got Karen Harrison. She is an Amazon bestseller with the book Stop Growing Broke, Start Growing Profits. And you can find it on Amazon, of course. Karen Harrison of 3S Smart Consulting. She can solve your cash flow problems. She can get you out of a crisis. She can guide your business back to prosperity. So give her a call, 3S Smart Consulting.
And I'm still going to thank Pat because I know he brings you beer down and he sort of was almost the coordinator for the beer you have today. And so I'm going to thank you, Pat, for supporting the show because I know that you're listening a lot. A lot of times you'll pop into a chat. I'm going to throw in a chat right now just in case you guys want to pop in and say something. But thanks again for supporting the show. Much appreciated.
Yeah. And Courtney's in Louisiana. Guess who she saw this week?
Devin. For sure.
The biggest LSU fan on the planet. This guy lives, breathes. I think purple, like stardust or something like that comes out of his nose as he breathes. I mean, he's got that much LSU in his in his body. So anyway, thanks, Devin. Really appreciate you. You've been just kind of plugging along with us this whole time. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks again, Devin. So this topic, I found it really interesting when I saw the description as you put it up there. So give me a quick summary. Like what drove you to this topic?
Yeah. So here's what happened. I saw this model, right? Saw a model, says this person is an influencer, has done work for Prada, has done work for Calvin Klein, makes somewhere between, there's estimates, because I'm like, well, how much does that person make just doing that? Somewhere between $2 and $10 million a year, right? And has over 1 million followers, right? Just people, I mean, been around for a little while. I'm like, oh, dang, who is this person? Have you ever heard of Lil, L-I-L, not little, L-I-L, Michaela?
No.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say there was a rapper who started with Lil. I thought you were going there, but no, I've not heard of whoever that is yet.
So think about this. Millions of dollars representing big brands. This is what drew my attention to it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't exist. It is an AI
manufactured. Yeah.
generate. It is an AI generated model that started off kind of cartoonish, and now like been around though. This person, like a cartoon,
Yeah.
started off. Yeah, I went back and looked. It was like pre-COVID. It was like 2020 or so. 2019. And it looked more animated, like more anime.
Mhm.
Now it looks like a real person, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
just this thing. And the company's name is, I'm going to misspell it. It's either Brood or Brud, BRUD, right? I don't know
Okay.
how to pronounce it. They're worth $125 million and they created this influencer. So think about that now.
Yeah.
You can create a personality that represents brands. Think about they never need a raise, they're never tired, they're never upset. Think about all the things that you could do with an AI generated brand or brand spokesperson
Mhm.
if you can nail it down. Now, my thing is, would I follow a robot? That's how this whole thing. I'm like, would I now? Because if I thought it was a person, maybe I'd follow it. If it's a
Yeah.
robot, I don't know if I'm going to follow a robot or not. So what
Yeah.
about
Well, okay, that's really interesting background because I suspected that there were AI, so I had no idea the impact that they would have, of course. But when I saw your topic, my first instinct, of course, was this super negative reaction. No way. I would never follow a robot. I would never, I would never use create a synthetic influencer for our brand and blah blah blah. And this was all ran through my head in like about seconds, right? And then I paused for a second and went, well, yeah, but there's probably a place. And is there a place? And why wouldn't I follow if the information was interesting, was useful? Like, why would I, if it was really quality information and it was like for us, if I was following microbreweries in Arizona and there was a avatar essentially looked like a person, but always had the latest and greatest on here's what they're pouring at this brewery, here's what they're doing there, here's some of the special events they're doing. There's just really great news all the time. Why wouldn't I follow? Like, does it make a difference if it's a real person in that case?
Yeah, I mean, do you really even care sometimes, right? Do you care? I'm
Yeah.
never going to meet any of the celebrities that, promote things.
Mhm.
How's this any different?
Yeah.
I mean, how's that any different? So there's 2 points of view, right? I mean, brands can instantly jump on because they can change message, they can change anything about this avatar in a minute's notice. I
Yeah.
think it's the audience that has to catch up. I think brands would automatically do it. I think people are already gravitating towards that. But like for an audience like you and I, there's a couple different questions went through my mind is, do I care if it's fake? Right? Like you said, do I care if it's
Yeah.
fake? Uh, is it honest? Are they really being honest or am I being deceived? And the last one is, does authenticity matter? Because I'm in the phase of my life where authenticity means something, because there's a whole genre out there or a whole movement in marketing where it's okay to have flubs in your video because it feels real. Where
Yeah.
AI is not going to be able to imitate that unless it's programmed to do that.
Yeah. Now, I think the thing I would sort of push back on is an influencer um, authentic. Like just because it's a person, like think of brand people are represented brands like the most interesting man in the world for what was it, Dos Equis, right?
Yeah.
That's an actor. They use real person, but there's nothing real about that. Influencers on any sort of social media, um, my first instinct is not to trust really what they're saying because I'm assuming they're getting compensated. Um, and so for them to at least appear authentic to me, they have to be able to disclose like, hey, or maybe I was provided this, but to review, but I'm going to tell you the good and the bad. Still probably take everything with a grain of salt, right? So this just a division of whether it's a real person or a robot. Here's the interesting part. You just mentioned that like how they program the robot or how much how much do they script, right? Now imagine it's actually an AI generated whatever, avatar or whatever, right? And you're asking, and it's going to say it's going to review ovens for the best quality oven. Well, at least it probably has like an incredible amount of information that it can sort of start to feed. Now, I'm still probably not totally believing it, but might it actually be slightly more impartial or authentic in the information it's giving you than a person that is actually basing it on very limited information or the dollars that are coming to them?
Yeah. So let me touch on the first thing you said about being authentic. Are there influencers that are really authentic? And I can point to one right now that is amazingly, or it seems to be authentic. And it's this woman, I think she's up near Dallas or around the Dallas area. Her name is Dani Austin, Dani. And every day her whole media feed is just her doing whatever, dealing with kids, being pregnant, talking to her husband. I mean, it seems incredibly real. Like she's not trying to do it for the camera. And she's very skilled at introducing a product, as part of it, where it doesn't feel like it's a commercial, right? It feels like it's just, hey, here's something I found today, check this out. And she's just showing how she's using it in her house and those type of things. That to me feels like if I went to your house, you say, hey, look at this. I bought over at, whatever, this fiddle hopper from wherever. But she's able to pull it off. And what happened is she got so many followers and started to get so much money from the affiliations that she created her own brand called, I think it's Divvy, Divy. And it's about like women's hair care products and things like that. So she moved out of being just an influencer to being, man, hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion company now. I mean, with the whole thing that she does in a matter of, well, she did YouTube before. So 10 years, 15 years.
Now, I will sort of push back on the one phrase you kept using is feel, right?
Yeah.
And that is, she is potentially extremely skilled at doing almost like a product placement. She maybe she's an actor, maybe she's got like, but that's how she built basically this empire, because of the way she makes people feel, completely separate from whether it's actually authentic or whether she was actually taking dollars to promote these products or whatever. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that really interesting there, because it was a feeling. I feel like it's real, because I think marketing always works until the customer feels manipulated. And it's happened forever. I mean, think about it now. Do you remember when you first found out that models on magazines or pictures were airbrushed?
Right? Yeah, I don't remember, but I can remember the feeling of going, oh, weird.
Yeah, right.
Strange,
like,
right?
oh man, yeah. So I mean, we didn't know she had a tattoo they always airbrush out or something like that, and then you feel manipulated, right? That's not really her. That's not really him. The other things like Courtney the other day pulls up because this Spencer Pratt, you know him, Spencer Pratt, is running for LA mayor. Well, he was part of, first of all, he was one of the biggest and first reality TV villains, right? Spencer Pratt dated a girl named Heidi something or other. I can't remember her last name. And they were on The Hills, I think, which was pegged or what was promoted as reality television. We later found out years later that it wasn't reality television. It was scripted reality.
I'll interject there, and I'll say that there is reality television is never real, like ever. Like it's just
Can't be. Yeah.
maybe live sports you could say is real, but what people classify as reality television is there's really nothing real about it, especially sort of non. I don't
Well,
even know if the competition ones are scripted, but those types they're all
yeah.
scripted, right?
Well, here's what makes it real is that they don't script the lines, they'll script the situations. I'm going to put you and another person in this conflict. How would you deal with it? Right? It kind of happens like that. There's a scripted situation, not the script of the person, and that's why they call it reality.
Yeah. So in other words, you just don't have to be as good of a actor. You maybe have to be better at improv. But it's like wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lines they say, but actually like a lot of TV is ad hoc or ad libbed. Like it's and they'll always mention it as like people will go off script at times, and sometimes you get these really great sort of improv moments, but it's all manufactured, whether what they say is whatever's off the top of their head, but it's all manufactured, right? So um yeah, I don't think it's
Well,
really a whole
yeah,
lot different, really.
but speaking of, I mean, you mentioned, hey, if you let AI go out and do a review of a stove or something like that, it's going to know more than you, unless we agree that there's a such thing as fake reviews, where we know already there are companies out there that
Oh,
flood product
absolutely.
markets with fake reviews.
But that's why I said it may be slightly better. And the reason I said slightly is just from the volume of information, that there's so much information. Because I know when I've looked for products and you're looking for reviews, there's times where I'm pretty sure someone, 30 years ago wrote a review on, like whatever it is, that it has just been like reproduced and thrown on the web and copied and pasted. And no one's ever actually tried the product, right? So, but there might be there might be some sources where they have, and it's just it's garbage in, garbage out. But a person can have garbage in and garbage out, and they may just use a single source because they're lazy. Where AI just might have enough sources that there might be a little bit higher level potentially.
Yeah, so I would be more interested or not, more likely to trust an AI model if they did just not even a review, if they did just corporate messaging. Just, here's our corporate message. Here's what this thing is supposed to do. But
Yeah,
for reviews, to me, AI doesn't have a lived experience. They don't know that, oh, by the way, if you hold this a certain angle, it's going to pinch your finger, right?
yeah,
Because they don't know what a
yeah.
pinch finger feels like.
And you know what? Like that's why if I'm buying a product or looking for an actual review, my first place I'll go is to YouTube, and I'll try and find. You watch some, and I can, you get the sense. Again, it's how you feel, though. I will admit that it's how you feel. It's like, yeah, it seems like bullshit. Oh, this seems like maybe a real person, and you get to see them using the lawnmower or whatever it is, and they talk about it and they show you firsthand. It's quite different than a lot of even the written reviews where people haven't actually tried it, and they literally will scrape information from other sites, regurgitate it. They've never even touched the product. And so, of course, with an AI, um, it's doing exactly that. So what I would be interested in the product side or something is you want to see, at least you want to see and believe that they're actually trying the product. But at what point is the AI so good that you can't tell if someone's actually fake and not even there, or it's actually a person trying a product?
Yeah, it's so hard sometimes to figure out if it's real or not what you're watching. It happened to me just this weekend. I showed Courtney a video. I said, "Man, look at this." All right, I'll set the stage. It's just somebody trying to load a boat. That's it. So you're like, all right, I was
Yeah.
just loading a boat. So the truck, it's just a regular pickup truck, and it's got 4 doors though, right, for the cab.
Yeah.
So it's got a passenger door, our front seat and back seat doors, and the boat, what is it called, trailer, is down in the water. But this woman, you can tell she's going a little too fast. She's driving the boat. She's going a little too fast, so that's why I stopped, because I'm like going, Ooh, that seems a little fast, a little hot to come in on a boat trail like that, right? So I stopped and watched it, and she runs it up on the boat trailer and goes too far, and the boat flips over towards the camera where they were filming it, and the woman flips out. That's all the video is. The woman flips out gets flipped out of the boat onto the grass, and then she stands up, right? And everybody runs over to her.
Yeah.
And, at first glance, you're like going, damn, that seemed, I can't believe she didn't get hurt. Right? That's what I thought. Yeah. But it looked real enough for me to go, let me watch that again, see what happened. Yeah. And you watch it again, and I saw the same thing. And it's like 2 or 3 times. The 4th time I watched it, I noticed that the passenger side mirror wasn't in the place I expected it to be. It was behind the second row passenger's door, like near the bed of the truck. I'm like, oh man, shit! I got tricked. I got tricked into watching this sucker 4 times. So think about manipulating stats, manipulating views, those type of things. And if I would have saw that the first time, I'd say, oh, that's AI. But I missed it the first time because the black truck, it was kind of hidden. And I'm like, man, that mirror's in a weird spot.
Well, and I think there's room for a service that I would pay every month for it or every year for a service that would plug into my browsers, plug into my, I don't know, like overlay of my social media, and just put a little flag on anything that's AI created. Now, the question is that even possible? At what point is it even possible to make something that can discern whether something has been created by AI or not? Because I wouldn't trust people to label it, even if they were told they're supposed to or disclose it. They don't have to, right? Like, okay, so here's okay, this is the flip side of what you just said. There was a video that you actually didn't realize was AI till you watched it a number of times.
Yeah.
And then the AI detector. We actually had an issue with an AI detector this week because Facebook flagged and stopped sharing content on our page because their AI detector went through and found a word it didn't like. And in context of it, it was the most benign thing ever. It was fun, it was light, it was benign. And I don't think they'll be able to pick up the audio here and complain about it. But as you talking about what was called historically, we didn't name it this, the Whiskey War, and it's just where Denmark and Canada were both claimed ownership of an island, and they would go and they would plant their flag and then leave a bottle of whiskey for the other guys to, when they would come and plant their flag, they'd leave a bottle of whiskey. It was really a fun, yeah. But here's an AI bot that didn't understand it, didn't look at context, could not do anything, and could not offer any, like, it totally screwed up. So that actually gives me pause to say it's going to be really hard for them to do something like that.
Well, that's a whole different thing, right? Which means we really don't even know that that's why they flagged us. We think, because that's the only thing we've ever done controversial, is we use the word war.
Yeah.
But that's
in a context that, yeah.
If I was talking about the border war between Missouri and Kansas, that's referring to a football game.
Yeah.
Right?
Or I left a shirt in my wardrobe. Oh no, you're out. We're canceling you guys. It is really bizarre. But I can see that, like, where we're headed, people are going to want to know, am I looking at something that's real, or am I looking at, and it doesn't mean that you'll dismiss it, but you'll have context. So in other words, like you said, if there's a something that could look totally real and they're maybe teaching something or talking about something, and you go, yeah, okay, that makes sense, or it answers my question, could be completely useful. But when they're saying, hey, this beer is delicious, and look at the color and all this kind of stuff, and it has this flavor profile, and it's like, you're a robot. You have not tasted beer, right? So it's I would love to have that service, but I don't know if it'll ever exist and actually be effective.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, want to say hello to you. You sent us a little text in the chat. So, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Is it a friend of yours or just EJ?
Nope. Just,
Okay, I'm just curious. Thanks.
He's now a friend of mine. Look,
There we go.
Yeah, you said hello. That's how you make friends now.
Okay, quick question for Jay. Jay, are you real or are you a bot?
Oh, yes.
Curious now, right?
That's a really good one. So,
You're going to have me question everything.
Yeah, so there's this thing called the faceless, I don't know, whatever it is. YouTube got faceless things now, right? Where nobody ever really turns on a camera. It's just an AI generated video that's thrown out there, and people are making real money on these things.
Yeah.
Right? So you said something earlier that if you could get the information, it was good information, it was relevant, it was timely, it wasn't too pitchy, we'll say, it would be okay. And the very fact people can make money doing it seems like that's okay. Me, I have a personal thing about it. I don't want just a nameless, faceless interaction with my client. I'd rather you see me, because what you see is what you get. When you work with me in person, I want it to be the same experience.
Oh, I think it differs greatly on the context, and I think that's with all of this. It greatly is different from the context, right? So I'm not talking about learning and discussing like a high level, I'll call them college, university level business things. I'm more like how do I replace the handle on my faucet? Like, can you just, and more importantly, like imagine if I said, oh, I got to replace like this handle on my faucet, and it is this brand, this model, this da da this da da da, and then it would know all the inners. It wouldn't be generic. It wouldn't be, okay, I'm watching someone on YouTube replace this, but mine is actually kind of different. It maybe could actually understand the specs and give me something really, really accurate. So I think there's time and place, right? Where it makes perfect sense. I probably can't get the content because it's so specific, but it's different than a higher. Well, and this is what like I talked with a guy this week. He's actually on one of my other podcasts, and he advises enterprise sized businesses on their like the whole process and pricing and evolution, everything on how they could bring in humanoid robots into their business, mostly kind of on the manufacturing side, right? What I found really interesting is when I asked him about, well, where are bots going to have, like robots, human style robots, going to have the biggest impact, and he said, dangerous, dirty, and drudgery. Those are the three things that he said. If they can replace dangerous situations, dirty ones, and drudgery, basically the things that people really don't want to do, that's the start, and that's where they're going to proliferate a lot. That I think is the same with content. It's just there's places where it probably makes sense and it's really not going to make a difference. And like you said, they might be a spokesperson, or it just, it's fine. Give me the information I need. And then other times where it's not going to be that great, right?
Yeah. So did you notice Jay's from Bangladesh? And he said AI is dangerous. So I asked him, why does he think that? But Bangladesh, not only that's another thing for us, right? Which is, not only do we have video clips over 1 million views, we got people chatting us up from around the world. We're international. We were kind of already that way with Canada.
We're global. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We crossed oceans.
We're nano influencers with Jay.
Right? Yeah. We influenced Jay with one episode.
But it is interesting though, now there is a whole path that we haven't really uncovered where now I wouldn't say like AI is just necessarily dangerous. It absolutely, time and place can be incredibly dangerous. And that's something that as AI continues to, show up everywhere, um, there's going to be the good with the bad, and there is going to be dangers, and it's up to people to try and spot those and put in some guardrails beforehand, and so that they can test and ease in. Because I read an article the other day where they were talking about the writer was talking about a Hindenburg moment with AI. And they said that basically they were saying that it's going to happen at some point. Likely a business or something like that will have uh, an enormously bad outcome that'll be really rapid from AI because something happened, and not necessarily dangerous physically, but dangerous and it potentially could be something dangerous physically, right? They're going to find out the hard way if there's not enough checks and balances and testing and working your way in. Otherwise, it's going to be some really dramatic failures.
Yeah. So jumping on that theme, right, where AI is dangerous, like Jay says, like you just said, the scariest part to me isn't that they're fake, right? It isn't that AI influencers and stuff are fake. It's that they're effective, that people believe it.
Yeah.
That could lead to the moment you just talked about. Like, I bought into that, because I look at some of the messages when I'm trying to craft mine as just for my own company. I'm like going, damn, that's really good. That's a lot better. I would have probably never thought of that. Right.
Yeah.
Or that angle or that pitch, whatever. And I try to incorporate it in. But then I wonder, I'm like, man, I'm really not testing this. I'm really not checking it. I'm just using it. Could that be the thing that leads a bigger company to the collapse, right? That you just talked about.
Well, and like we've seen, it's not just sort of these influencers. They always talk about bots that are sowing discord, and so there's it's not just like product. It's not just potentially teaching things, education. We've seen before sometimes AI bots can be incredibly bad at something as simple as math. I think they are getting better at it, but I still wouldn't trust it if it's really important, right? Um, it's there's going to be some hard lessons along the way, and I think there's hard lessons being learned right now. Like there's how much of AI is do people believe are real, and it's just bots making it complete lies, and bots are making it up about product, about like anything, about absolutely anything, and it's a bit of a wild west out there, really, right?
Yeah. So when I think about this, you ever see me wear that shirt that says AI does not equal me? Right?
Mhm.
AI doesn't equal me. And it's a play on words to me because it doesn't have my heart. It doesn't have my sense of humor, my timing. It doesn't, it can't pick up on those things, at least right now. I'm not going to say it can't in the future, but at least right now. But to me, I look at it as the dangerous part is if your brand or your company can be replaced by AI, that's not an AI problem. Right? That's a you
Yeah.
problem. It's a your company problem, right?
Mhm.
And that's the way you need to think about it from your own company perspective is, yeah, I can't be replaced by this. What do I do to innovate and get ahead of it? Right.
Well, and that's the big challenge is like, look at how many of the big enterprise businesses, um, they know that they either replace people or their competitor is going to replace people. So, that the like ride share, it's going to eventually likely be all robotic cars. Now, there may be the potential that people can own their car and let it do the driving for them. Like I think there's potentially some middle ground there, but um, it opens up a big can of worms when you start saying it's just sort of a complete free for all. But AI will replace people's jobs, and as it replaces people's jobs, there's large, bigger implications, right? When it's not a few jobs, when it's a lot of jobs, when it's a massive part of society potentially could have be replaced by robots, right?
Yeah. So you were talking about like, we'll just use Waymo, right? Because I was just in Scottsdale, Phoenix. They're everywhere. I mean, it's flooding the streets. I just saw one at San Antonio Airport, and Courtney and I are still a little cautious about it. Like, that way. And here's why. I saw a video not too long ago about a road that's under construction, right? And it's 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going the other. 2 of the lanes are shut down, and they have diverted traffic to 1 lane going each way in the other side. Can you picture that now? So instead of a 4 lane, it's down to 2 lane where 1 lane goes each way. And it's all just cones. They've done it with just traffic cones. And the Waymo didn't understand the traffic diversion and stayed in the lane that they thought under normal conditions were going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But they're actually going the wrong way, for that area. So is that an AI problem? Is that them not recognizing the signs? Is that whoever it was, though, that was in that car during that video has got to be a little scared? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
No, it's
like, we're going the wrong way.
It's the truth. Unfortunately, the issue that I see with that, like the thing that I always look at is just statistics, because it's very easy to see like something like that and just kind of go, well, I'm never getting in a Waymo. But I would look at the data, the numbers, because even in that instance, there might have been 10 people did the same thing in the same day. It's never going to end up online. It's never going to end up online.
Yeah.
We take Waymos quite often. I don't trust a Waymo. No, and I don't trust a Waymo to drive as good as I drive. Maybe it's probably wrong. I'm probably completely wrong, but I don't trust it as much. But I will tell you, I trust a Waymo more than some of the Ubers I've been in and Lyfts at times and taxis, like any sort of vehicle driven by a person. There's it's not a level of perfection. I think that's what people expect. And so if you see, it's international news when a robotic car does something like kind of offside. It doesn't even make the local news when a person drives into another person at an intersection. Because it happens so frequently, it's not even news. And so the first thing I will tell you, before the first time we got in a Waymo, I looked it up, and they were 7 times safer. People have a 700% increased chance in getting into a collision than the robot car. And I will bet you, if they actually looked at who's at fault on the ones when a Waymo's actually involved, those numbers even stretch even further. But we were also in a Waymo where it got lost and couldn't get out of the parking lot for about like 10 minutes. It was dark and it did not know how to get out. It finally did find it, but it was going around in circles. We're like, oh, here we go again. And I've tried to coach the Waymo. No, man, turn right, turn right, turn right. And then it finally did. It figured it out. But the other thing is just learning every mile, and they do millions of miles. They're learning every mile. People, I think, get more lackadaisical every mile. They don't learn. They kind of, end up on their phone or something, right?
Yeah, get more relaxed. Like, I'm good at driving now, right?
I'm good at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the Waymo then is Waymo is a service. But what would happen if, Waymo used AI influencers to get people to go in? And maybe they do. I'm starting to wonder, if an AI influencer can out earn a real person conversion wise, it just does the right things at the right time and all that. What does that say? What does that say for all of us? If it knows our psyche that well to say and do the right things at the right time, that we believe it and trust it and act on it.
I think the question I would have, especially with these influencers that are making like millions of dollars, I'm really curious about the engine that's running behind it. In other words, I don't think you and I could just like make a bot, put it out there and just say, hey, become an influencer and walk away and come back and it's making millions of dollars. I suspect there are, maybe at some point we can, but I suspect there are people involved that put in a lot of time, a lot of money, and a ton of expertise. Um, and really, the it's the final step is just simply they replace a talking head, but there's the entire engine and time and energy behind it to actually build that up. I'm speculating. I don't really know.
Yeah. Is there a point in time when it's flooded? There's just too much of it. There's too many
Oh,
out there, so they
yeah,
won't be. They won't even be competitive anymore because they're all
yeah.
stuck. They're doing the same thing.
Several years ago, there's already too much. Um, there's already too much out there. Like it's a flood, and it gets so much higher every single day. Um, I guess that's where it starts coming into the next wave of services and software, and that I think will be helping people find, filter, sort, and um, rate, I suppose, the different sources, so that they can kind of say, I cannot have a billion different channels flooding me here, and the algorithms that just feed me garbage. Like I will tell you, because I did say that I will, if I'm like, yeah, like buying an oven, buying a blender, I'll go to YouTube and I'll just check on, and I'll ask, like, I'll try and find reviews, and I'll try and find someone that's really real, right? I learned the first time, go to incognito before you do that, because you will look up a lawnmower. I got all the information I need, and then the algorithm will feed me bloody lawnmower review sites for the rest of eternity. And you can't get away. And then you got ads showing up in other places if you have tracking turned
Already
on and
bought.
that.
Already bought. Already bought.
Yeah, and it's all you want to say is, I already bought one,
Yeah.
or I already fixed my plumbing problem. Please don't give me more plumbing problem videos for the rest of eternity. And so I think that's going back to like our AI flag on Facebook. To me, it feels like some of the content that people are building, when you see how far advanced they are, and then you see how poor and how almost useless these engines are that feed us content, it's like, can you just not? Like, can you give me something that makes more sense? Don't keep filling my news feed with garbage. And I, keep going, no, down, down, down. Like I've said before, if I see something that looks like it's got that clickbait type title, I'm just like, I'm nailing it. Don't give me the shit. But what the algorithms will do is they think I'm not interested in the topic. Like, no, I'm not interested in the garbage approach, because if they use that approach, it's garbage content. I don't want that kind of garbage content, right?
Yeah, I think almost everything needs, like, you see down here in Riverside, it's got our name and our title, dry run, blame birch, that type of stuff. It needs like AI right there or something on everything that you put out there so you can instantly tell, oh, it's AI, right? Because
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I don't trust it. That just means I think about it differently.
I would love that. But at what point, when the algorithms, if they can't determine if then they'll never know. People put up there and just won't flag it, and it could be up there for years and no one will ever know. That's kind of what bugs me is, if people are required to do it, but they simply don't, how do they police it? Right.
I think the platform can detect it. If you can detect, words in a post, you say, oh, this video is made with AI, and put a tag on it for them.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to have, but this is again my example of, it flagged what we think is our entire account over one word without understanding context. And at the same time, you saw a video and you had to pick up the tiniest little detail of content in the video to know that it was AI.
See, I think instead of suspending the account like we were threatened to be, take the post down, or, hide the post and give me a notification saying this post did this thing.
Sure. Yeah.
We got zero of that answer. We got none of that.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. Like there isn't, I don't think, a lot of incentive. Like we saw Twitter for a day. I think it actually was only a single day, rolled out a feature where they would show where the account was based. And then they found out that all these accounts that were feeding all sorts of information and posing as American accounts, Canadian accounts, European accounts were not.
Yeah.
They were not at all. And then they obviously looked at it and said they must think this isn't going to benefit us, and they removed that feature. But when I heard they removed the feature, I'm like, well, that's the last nail in the coffin. I'm not going back to that platform ever, because to me, it's like there is nothing more um, underhanded than basically trying to take away authenticity from me, right?
Yeah.
So they don't benefit from it. They're not going to do it anyway, right?
I think if they're going to censor, right? I'll just call it censoring. Censor the bot ones. Censor the ones the robots created. Don't let it flood the market with robotic, post or things like that.
But they may not be able to tell. That's the issue. Is I don't think they can tell which is which. But this was the thing to me. This is what bothered me so much. It wasn't about censorship. It was literally just taking away information. It was hiding. It was taking away that information, like you said, that just tags it and says this is where it's based. That to me seems like the more information, the better. And so I don't think these social media platforms feel that they benefit from it. And I think the algorithms probably are more sophisticated than I believe, because they probably aren't built to make my life easier. They're not built to make me enjoy the platform more. They're not. I think they're just literally built to somehow get what path gives them the most clicks or time watched or whatever. Again, whatever generates dollars, not quality.
Yeah, so that's why I think brands gravitate towards them, towards, like, we'll say, an AI model or influencer or whatever, because it's going to lower the cost of that task. Producing a social post, creating a video, those type of things, it lowers that. You know what it doesn't lower? It doesn't lower the cost of trust. Just a task. Oh.
But now, do people care? Like, there's a good example. I looked at them like, okay, I am not going back to X at all, because I don't trust that when they're obviously trying to hide information I think I need from me, right?
Yeah.
No big outcry. No one cared. Nobody cared. They literally had it for a day. They took it away and went, nah, I don't really care. So do brands now I do think there's a difference in brands, I think, with who they are and what they're selling, right? I probably don't care that much if they're trying to sell like maybe a brand of beer, but I do want to know, is it a big brand owned or not? That, or is it actually craft? Okay, I would probably want to know that. But I think I just think people have gotten quite lazy, and there's areas where they just simply just don't care, right? But I think there are some brands that probably are built so much more, where that authenticity means a lot, and trust means a lot. And I guess you just have to determine what your market is going to respond to, and is it worth the effort or time or whatever to keep it real, right?
Yeah, super good topic. I thought this is a good one for us. Hey,
Yeah.
we're at the end of 100 or 227 of these now. So I appreciate you. That's 227 hours we spent together talking about the hottest trending topics on the market as they relate to beer, business, and BS. And
Yes.
if they want to hear more things like this, where do they go?
What I'm going to say now is that now that, as we were talking earlier, everybody's already tuned out because we're at the end of the show. Please like, subscribe, and follow. So I don't know if anyone actually heard that out there. We got to remember to ask at the start of the show. But if you happen to still be listening, please click like, because as we talked about the algorithms, we need it for the algorithm. That's what they reward. They don't know if we're making good content or not. We think we are, but they will reward a like, a subscribe, and a follow. So please go ahead and do that for us.
There you go. And if you want to make sure you're mentioned, the best $5 you can ever spend is at the top of the show in our beer sponsorship spot. You can go to mikeandblaine.com, just click on buy us a beer, put in as many as you want, one episode or a whole year like most people do. Put in the whole year, you're going to be mentioned for that whole year, every episode, and then it lives forever on the internet as long as they keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Mike. The great topic again. I love I know last week I came up with the topic. I love your topic so much more. I really enjoyed this one. So I'm glad you are back on top of the topic today. I really appreciate it. It was a good topic today.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.